and welcome to Two Chaps in a Smart Car.
A whole new episode. And this is your first time.
My first time in a smart car, ever. I kind of like what I'm seeing. It's surprisingly roomy, actually.
Well, the good thing about this is it is a purpose-built two-seater. There's no faffing around with trying to find seats in the back. So this is a late 2012, 2013 62 plate Smart Fortwo, as it's called.
As opposed to the Fortwo.
Exactly, because it's a two-seater. And this is the Pulse edition, which is the sort of... it sounds kind of exciting. It's actually one of the lower tiers of spec that they do.
I was about to say, it looks like he's got a lot of kit in here for a low-spec car.
Whoever owned it originally chose to have a few extra things. So what you can do, much with any cars, is you choose the standard trim, and you say, but I want this extra. So the tachometer, the rev counter...
Oh, wow, yeah.
And the clock pods, these pods here on the dash are extras, as is the integrated multimedia.
It's quite swanky, the multimedia.
Which has got sat-nav and is also a DVD player.
That I find remarkable.
I know. Really useful for when you're driving.
Where do you put the disc?
So if you hit that button, hit the eject button,
ooh,
the fascia comes off.
Ooh, I live in the future.
And then you press it again. It's also got an SD card slot, so you can put your music in it.
I live in the future!
So that's very cool. So if you're out camping or you're stuck in traffic, you can watch your DVD.
Do you know what the speed is? Minimum speed?
I think it's like 2 miles an hour.
Wow.
It's like, I think if it registers that the wheels are moving, it goes, nah, sorry, son.
That's a very important safety feature there.
This car's trump card. Rich, if you'd kindly push the button there, press and hold.
Oh.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a Smart Fortwo Cabriolet.
Look at all the world!
There you go. And if you keep holding it, has it gone all the way back yet? So if you press and hold again...
Wowzers.
There you go.
I'll tell you what I really like about that. You can do that whilst you're driving.
One thing to note is these side pillars here do actually come out. It's a bit of a faff. They can come out and they can be stored in the back.
So you can have like a full-on...
Full-on, and you can have the windows down. The boot's not massively generous, as you'd expect, but you can get a couple of bags of shopping in there.
Where is the boot? Is it at the front or the back?
That's it.
Oh, really?
It's a 3-cylinder 999cc engine. It's basically a litre engine.
Wowzers.
And it is labelled as their MHD, or if you want to know, it's micro hybrid drive. And essentially what that means is it's got stop-start technology. So when you're at the lights, when you're in traffic, and all of this combines in a tax that is free.
That's my favourite amount when it comes to tax.
I know, that big fat zero that lands on your doorstep. So let's do a little quick acceleration test. Dropping down into first.
This should be interesting.
You're going to let me go down? So away we go. And that's 40.
That's not bad, you know.
It's pretty good.
Actually, and it makes quite a nice noise.
For a 3-pot.
And I quite like that.
Rear-wheel drive.
Lean back. How do you find the gearbox in this?
It's horrendous.
Oh, really?
I mean, this is a semi-automatic, so you can go full auto, or you can, there's a little button on the side of the shifter here, which if I press then gives it to manual mode, and you can use the shifter to shift down a gear or shift up a gear. Or this model, there's a flappy paddle.
Wow, just like Michael Schumacher.
So if you drop down into second here, down into Cops, over Crest, tightens into 2.
What's the shift change like on those paddles? Is it pretty instantaneous?
We'll change it, we'll do it now. So let's go into full manual, as it were. Putting away. It's a lifetime.
Oh my God.
It's an absolute... It's better from third to fourth. And shifting down, not too bad. And we'll try again here. So I'm in second now. Foot down.
So let's time this. Go. 1, 2, 3.
Almost 3 seconds.
Almost 3 seconds.
The transmission's not so great. It's a bit sluggish. That's the first negative point. Second negative point I'm noticing, the ride's not great.
The ride is bone shaking, to say the least. You might get this on some of the camera shake that you might be experiencing. We've got a image stabilization switch to max, so hopefully that's ironing out the worst, but I dare say even that isn't going to be struggling to cope with the worst of the bumps here.
When I first drove this, I thought, this is on leaf springs. It felt so bad. Right, so we're on a few twisty roads now, so let's give it the beans a bit.
Oh lordy. Oh, you know what? If the ride wasn't so bad, this would actually be really good fun.
The third point that I think is a negative on this, and this is because it's an optional extra, is the fact that this car is lacking power steering. Now, maybe I'm being a bit snobbish here.
Well, do you need it? I mean, it can't be that heavy a car, surely.
You'd be amazed.
Really?
You'd be amazed how hard it is to turn the wheel. It's very heavy. There is really heavy.
But you know, I suppose it's designed for an urban environment, and in theory, urban roads are usually slightly better.
But let's talk about the positives here. It's fun.
It is fun, especially with this roof. You know, having a convertible that rolls back. On a day like today, what more could you want? You kind of forget every other little quibble, really. As a first car, it makes so much sense because you haven't really got the power to get into real trouble.
No.
Insurance is going to be about as low as it's going to get. Build up that no claims, pootling about, having fun, rolling the roof back.
I think if you're someone that wants to stand out from the crowd a little bit, I mean, I have had it where I've been in this car and people have waved at me. And by that I mean other smart car owners.
There's a community.
There's a little bit of a community where, a bit like the Mini really,
yeah.
Where it's that same sort of vibe. It feels a bit like a go-kart, a little bit like a roller skate. Now, I know what you're all thinking. We're meant to be doing a video on cars that are affordable or first cars and stuff. And I should tell you that I know that the owner, when they bought this car cost about $8,000.
That I find, whoa, really?
It's a lot of money, and that was second hand.
A lot of money. Second hand.
That's an ex-demo second hand.
My God.
So that's a lot of moolah, a lot of quiche.
That's a lot of money. Well, you think we could get for $9,000? Jesus.
Yeah. But now in today's money, this is worth between 4 and 5.
Okay, that's more reasonable.
And this, of course, is the Mark II shape, which has got a facelift and the interior is a lot nicer. The Mark I, which, you know, isn't as good a car, but is still the same premise. It's a city car and it's fun to drive and quirky and all that. You can get one of those for just over $1,000 now.
Okay, so there is a bargain to be had.
There's a bargain to be had. The fact that it's convertible, you are instantly adding £1,000. So if you want a 62 plate or a 13 plate that's not a cabriolet, you might be looking at sort of 3 to 4 to start with.
Okay.
Which again is even better. What we'll do now is we'll do the section we're going to start coining Ask the Owner.
The soft top is amazing. It handles really well, fits through tiny, tiny spaces. The boot, even though it's tiny, can hold like 3 massive shopping bags. Steering can be tricky because it's not power steering, but other than that, nothing really. I know some people don't like it because it's bouncy. A tank cost me 30 quid and it lasts about 300 miles. They have so much more to give than I think people think. They have a lot more room than people think. They are a lot more fun to drive than people think. I would just recommend anyone that wants a small car and a convertible just to go for it and get one.
Rich, any final thoughts?
I like it.
You like it?
I like it. I've been sold. I think, apart from the ride, I can just about forgive the transmission. The only thing I really struggle with is the ride. That's my only really big negative about the whole thing.
If you enjoyed this review, do hit subscribe. We'll be back with some more cars in the coming months.
As soon as we can steal some.
As soon as we can steal some. And if you've got any questions or cars you want us to test drive or things you want us to focus on more when doing these reviews, just ask away.
We are here to be your humble servants.
But right now, Rich, do you want a cookie?
I'd love a cookie.
Let's get a cookie.
Cookie.
Bye.